Absolutely. Anyway, ramblings aside, welcome to episode 46 of the Accountants In podcast. My name is Harry Sermon, and we are finally back with the return of Jamie Joyner.
Hello.
Jamie Joyner's here.
Back. The crowd goes wild. How are you, Jay? You good? You well?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm pleased to be back in the nice, wet and rainy and cold UK.
Wonderful.
Sure. Yeah. Good to be
Matt
back
and
in
I
the
just
podcast
kept
as well.
me and Matt just kept leaving just awkward pauses in case you might chime in on the previous episode.
I was listening. I was sitting. I remember I was sitting having my noodles for breakfast, and I had the podcast on.
Lovely.
And I was like, "Oh, this is great." I was like smiling, but also a little bit of me was like, "Oh, it's really sad." Love to be chatting about
a little bit of you is also
right
hoping. I hope it's not too good.
Yeah.
Damn, this is my favourite episode ever. Oh, wow.
That's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know
I'm
the
sure
weekly-
you're one of the 5-star ratings, aren't you?
Yeah.
Jamie? Sure. Yeah.
That's when you did it.
Yeah, I heard the episode. I went straight on there and
And of course, always, Mr. Matt Lacey is with
Oh
us.
yes,
as
I've
well.
been. Hi Harry. Hi Jamie. I've been doing
Hey.
talking. I am out here. I'm here. Surprise. Yes.
Yes, we're
And
back.
here we are in 2025.
2025. Yeah, so we wanted to start the year off. Everyone kind of likes to do the what we've got planned in 2025, and January is always a great time to sort of think about the year ahead, and we kind of wanted to do that too. Really, we wanted to kind of discuss a little bit of that.
jump on the bandwagon.
Jump on the bandwagon, hit all the cliches. But really, I think what we wanted to discuss, because also we've not really discussed this like together. We've talked about how we always are, messaging and voice messaging in our chat and so on. And this whole podcast really started from us just, having conversations with each other just about, drumming and drumming life and what we're up to and stuff like that. So this is going to be really fun. We're just going to basically talk about like what we're kind of looking ahead, for in the new year, whether that's, maybe stuff we've already got planned in the calendar in terms of like maybe some gigs and stuff like that, goals and things that we're trying to achieve, and that we'd like to maybe kind of work towards, where we kind of see ourselves perhaps at the end of the year practicing and sort of, drumming development and all that sort of stuff. So, we're going to be talking about basically, what we're hoping to do this year. And I think, and I hope, maybe in some way it holds us a little bit accountable. So maybe when we get to, next December, or this December, I should say, and we maybe, I don't think we already did it this time. Maybe we did like a year in review sort of thing. And we kind of maybe can look back and go, well, Matt said he was going to,
that would be interesting.
headline the NAMM show, and he didn't quite get there,
Tick.
whatever it is. Yeah. Well, he did.
Yeah.
And he signed with DW. Amazing,
Well, that's not going to happen.
because you don't like them, or
I'm already in talks. No. No.
John Good.
I couldn't
if
The
you're
afford
goal's got to be by the end of the year. He's got a light ride. That's
listening.
the goal.
Oh yes. Now that I can get on board with.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more chance of me signing for DW, to be fair. But yeah.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
And I think also we're gonna maybe just before we go, we might even at some point maybe mention some highlights from the last year. Like I said, we didn't really sort of get the chance to do a sort of in review sort of thing like we've done in the previous year. Obviously, as we mentioned at the beginning, Jay obviously being in China for a month, and there were a couple of scheduling issues. That's why there's been a bit of a longer break than normal between our last episode with just Matt and myself, and obviously then Jay, and now a new episode. But we also, I think it's fair to say, took a fair bit of time off over the Christmas holidays and period and stuff like that. It also fell really nice with like schools and stuff like that, so it felt like we got like a really nice break either side of Christmas and New Year. So obviously I hope you guys had a nice time, and I hope everyone listening enjoyed a bit of time off, whatever you're doing, and with your families and friends and so on. But let's just get straight into it. I don't know, how do we want to do this? Do we want to sort of talk about maybe things that sort of come to mind in terms of like when we hit a new year and what we kind of look towards, or has anyone got anything already plumbed into the calendar that like super excited about, or are we just sort of like starting to think maybe in the next few weeks of what the year's going to look like?
Well, Jay, have you got, since you missed the last episode, mate? Why don't the floor is yours? Why don't you
You've got minutes to catch up on.
If you could just do a 40-minute monologue.
No one wants that. No one wants that. Everyone's going to be writing in, be like, "Get him off again. Go back to how it was."
Where are all those 5-star ratings gone? I can't wait.
Okay, yeah, 2025. I think for me, it's starting to. Sorry, excuse me. It's starting to fill up a little bit quicker than it typically would, which I'm obviously like excited about, but it's also I have to kick myself into gear pretty quickly. I've picked up one thing I wanted to do was try and branch out into areas that are like outside my comfort zone again, which I've been trying to do. But I've picked up a jazz gig in May. Another one that I haven't done one. It would have been almost like 2 years. So that's another one which is definitely like not the typical thing. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to really focus some long-term practice more leading up to that, which would be cool. So that's kind of like off the top of my head, one gig in the year. I'm like, okay, that's one I'm going to have to really work on. But like in doing a little bit of reflection just on particularly gigging in 2024, I found that, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, there was a lot of like doing a good enough job, but I always get to the end of the gig and then go, I really wish that I'd just maybe done a little bit more prep, or just like giving it a little bit more time, or maybe it's just more for me, it's like where I intended to do stuff, I didn't, and then I ended up kind of just doing it under pressure sort of thing, last minute and that sort of stuff. And I think for me this year, something I'd really like to be able to do is really give whatever gig it is or project a really good bit of time further in advance. I tend to kind of shove it all, or it all just gets pushed down the priority list until it's really close. And I just want to be able to, kind of give it a little bit more intentionality and, a bit more prep, and just kind of staying a bit more present with it as I do it. And it's not sort of just like, another gig, so yeah, I'd say kind of overarching, that's generally the direction I'm going in for 2025.
It's like a kind of
playing wise,
like a plus 10% type mindset. I've done this, but actually I need to eke out 10%, whatever it might be. Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth. But that's what came to mind. Is that just? I think you are prepping well. I think you're doing. You're doing. Everything you play, mate, sounds great. Obviously, and I think we all want to do the great job. But I would say I'm the same, Jay. It's like looking back on a gig and I go, you know what, that bit was. Everyone loved it. Everyone said great, but I can't get out of my head. If this is a room of drummers, they'd pick me up on it. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily coming from a great place, because it's a bit of paranoia of times that I should be better at this. Could, should, and all that thing. But no, I know exactly where you're coming from, mate. Yeah.
No, I get that. I think that sometimes that we can be our own, like, the person that puts the most pressure on us. I'm definitely one of them. I hold myself very, very accountable for a lot of things. And quite often, if something like a gig or whatever doesn't quite go as well as I'd hoped, 9 times out of 10, the thing that I was annoyed about, no one else is at all. Least of all the people like in the audience. It's normally just like maybe a band member will notice or something. But to me, that's like, I'm annoyed at that, and I want to make sure that I get better. So yeah, trying to be sort of kind to myself. Sometimes I'm like, well, you did have like 2 days to prep for this and that was it, so it's fine if you like don't get it perfect. Other times I'm like, well, actually I've known this gig's coming up for a while, I kind of didn't really practice it, and I got to the gig and then there are a lot of things that went on, and then I just wasn't quite as confident with like that song or something as I really wanted to be. Just little things like that. So I guess like kind of dialing it in, the extra 10%, like you said, Matt. I think that's something I'd want to maybe.
Would you say that's also more like in like the, like you said, when you've got a gig coming up, like you said, the week of, is that a case of like calendarizing like dedicated practice time, like on the lead up, as it is, like as if it were like, oh well, I've got the podcast recording tonight, or I've got a rehearsal? Would you like say that you're trying to like maybe like plumb in a little bit more sort of time in advance to kind of achieve that, or is it just like you said, like trying not to fill the calendar like too much, so that like you've got all these gigs but you don't actually have time to like prep for them in the same way?
Yeah, I think it is that, just trying to put more things in the diary, being really intentional about like, this is the time when I'm going to work on this, and this is the time I'm going to work on that, and putting it in the order of priority of like when the gigs are coming up or whatever. Yeah, and I think like, basically that, I think is the whole mix of being intentional and just I find that sometimes I can go on a gig and I'm like, I did the job, almost like the bare minimum. I was just like, it happened and people had a good time, but I kind of feel like I could have done a better job myself, It's that feeling I'm constantly chasing. That is just like, I want to feel like I put in the most effort and I didn't just sort of turn up and just do the job and go home and
play
a bit sort of, kind of lazy about it. Not lazy, but
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, man, it's an interesting thing, because I don't think I'm not going to say the same as you, Jay, but what you said actually reminded me something I told myself on the 1st of Jan. So this is kind of there's different ways of looking at this, but really the kind of the strap line, hopefully for this year for me, is don't waste time.
Nice.
Don't waste time. And that's where I'll get shiny object syndrome and end up on a rabbit hole in YouTube, or I'll end up getting involved with social media when I should actually, what I'm doing really is finding something else to do because I'm procrastinating over the thing I really need to be doing. And I'm just keeping myself to account. So that this year for me is like, again, I find myself working better and more efficiently and effectively under the pressure of a short time scale. But I need to be better at going, no, I need to prep for this now.
Yeah.
And just trying to keep momentum throughout the day of just getting more work done. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like I'm clocking in every morning. But yeah, I think just using that mantra of don't waste time, what can we be doing? And just looking at the stuff you're putting off, like you say, Jay, there's stuff that always ends up at the top of the to-do list, and those same old things just keep creeping down.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an overarching thing of trying to keep on top of stuff. Oh no, I've got a bit of time, I'll do that tomorrow. I have to be very careful that I don't go into full workaholic mode though. And that sounds like I'm defending it already, doesn't it? But I was really glad. I had like 3 weeks off over Christmas, New Year. Now, arguably, if I'd have been offered gigs, I'd have done them. But the fact that I wasn't gigging, I was able to go, right, I'm going to make the most of having the downtime. Yeah. And we said before we started recording, Jamie, you said, I'm not really caught up with you for ages, Matt, because I've not really put anything out on Instagram. I've just kind of been, having some time away. So I want to, again, in this year, be more comfortable with having days off, knowing that when I'm working, I'm not procrastinating, I guess is the thing for me. So that's something that I'm going to hold myself accountable to this coming December, Harry. Having this, how much time did you waste, Matt, when it comes to December?
How many weeks did you clock in this time?
Yeah. Couple of other little things for me. So as I mentioned in the last episode, I'm a member of Louis Palmer's website now, and I've got a membership to that. So that's now been a great source for me getting stuck into stuff. I'm picking stuff out, printing off PDFs, and it's given me a bit more things to focus on in my practice. So yeah, upping again, leaving myself time to practice because the other stuff is getting done when it needs to get done in the calendar. So practicing more consistently and really kind of pushing that this year. And I won't talk about it too much, but I'm also I'm doing some career mentoring this year. So I am being mentored. So I've signed up to be mentored about the directions I want things to go in the future for full-time for my career. So,
Cool.
so I'm looking forward to kind of getting into that and pushing elements of, this multifaceted thing that we do. I'm really happy with where my teaching is in terms of the number of people I'm teaching and where I'm teaching and physically where I'm teaching and the content that I'm teaching. That's taken a couple of years, I think, for me to bed in, quite understandably. But I want to be doing more sessions and depth work. And so that's where I'm taking this mentoring to try and kind of push that side of my profile, really. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Don't waste time. Practice more effectively. Do more stuff in a better time, and play more for more people. I guess pretty much. Nice. How about you, Harry? Go on, Jay. Sorry, mate.
No, just a little question that crossed my mind when you were talking is a struggle that I've been having recently. I've just been noticing is that when I plan to do stuff like work, and maybe I block off like 2 hours in my calendar or whatever. To work on project X, I don't know, set list or recording something or practice. I tend to be like, I'm going to do 2 hours there. And in my mind, I'm like, 2 hours, I should be able to do this, and this. And I think, right, they're the, I don't know, 4 things that I want to do in that 2 hours. Yeah. And then I get to the block and I start and there's something goes wrong at the beginning. I know I need to like download something or like something doesn't work the way I wanted it to, or I get a little bit distracted and kind of do something or, something else pulls my attention. And I come back to it like, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes before I can actually get started again. But in my head, I'm still like, I've got these 4 things to do. And so I go until I've got those 4 things done. But I've then like overrun because I kind of had this thing at the beginning. And then it kind of throws the rest of my day out a little bit. And something that I've been noticing is like, I need to work a little bit more in like, no, 2 hours is the limit. Wherever you're at, stop. You need to go on to the next thing because that's like what you've decided is the next important thing in that day or whatever. Is that how you manage your calendar as well? Like, do you do like blocks or kind of have a, like, I'm going to do 2 hours on this, or is it like, sorry, I mute my mic there. Or are you like, I'm going to get these specific tasks done. I'm going to keep going until they're finished.
No, how it normally goes is I block 2 hours out. Something happens that I react to, and then the 2 hours gets lost because I ended up getting in a rabbit hole of, I need to reply to that person. And again, that's the thing. When someone emails me or DMs me or texts me, in my head, I feel like I'm having a conversation with that person. So if I don't reply immediately, I feel like I'm ignoring them.
Right.
And when I email people and they don't reply back within 3 minutes, I'm like, why are they ignoring me? So
really, with emails?
I'm. It's terrible. I'm terrible because
I can understand on like a WhatsApp or whatever, but like with emails, I'm like, if people are like a day or so.
Oh no, this is it. You see, my brain works. I'm like, well, I'm having a conversation with you. Why are you standing there and ignoring me? Even though it's email. So this is where I've got to improve this kind of mentality of getting to. No, well, you're just going to turn that off and you're going to do the thing. But I would normally, if it's a 2 hour thing, if I've got room, I'll block out a 2 hour block and then I'll do another 2 hour block. Now, this could be a benefit because, something came up. I actually only got 2 of the things done. It's okay. I've got more time blocked out.
Right.
Or the negative side of that is, well, I don't need to go flat out because I've got another 2 hours spare.
Time.
Yeah. So,
a little buffer.
I've actually, not intentionally, but what I've actually done, I've actually kind of not shied away intentionally, but I've found myself not blocking the time out. But I've got a hard copy to-do list in my book. And at the start of every week, the date goes on. Anything that didn't get done last week gets to the top of the list this week. And so that's how I try and address that. And it's like, right, what shall I do? Oh, okay. What do I want to do from the to-do list? And that's the time. But I again, Jamie, that efficiency of not wasting time, I'm trying to keep myself accountable to block stuff out and do it in the time. But I don't give myself a time limit because I very much, if I didn't do it all, there's a danger that I'm going to go, flipping out, I didn't do it. And then I'm going to be kind of down on myself, for not achieving what's required.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having a hard deadline is a difficult thing to kind of police it and still keep in a positive frame of mind. But
especially when like you're working for yourself or like you've planned your own day and you technically have the ability to rearrange it however you want or whatever. I think that's when it can get a bit difficult. But anyway, I could talk about like time management stuff for ages. I feel like we're digressing down a big rabbit hole, but that's,
we did.
Sorry, H. Sorry.
No, let's hear Harry's.
What are you going to hold yourself to accountable in this year, Harry?
No, it was honestly, it's all good. The reason, if anyone's watching, I'm sat far back, still got like a lingering cold, so I don't want to be like sniffling down the microphone. And when you get like the out of nowhere massive nose run, you're like, oh my god, it's just coming out of my face. That's why I was sat away. So it's not. I was generally really interested in that conversation, but I didn't want to be like breathing down the microphone and snotting at some. Anyway, this year, at the moment, the big thing that's on my mind is practice. Really, I'm sure someone could very easily clip together the amount of times last year where I said I didn't practice and I'm good at it, and so on.
I think you said that on air in the episode.
I said loads of times. Yeah,
practice.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely.
You were just like, nope.
And nope, don't do it. Nope, not me. But I was kind of doing a bit of reflecting on it over the Christmas period. And I had a few gigs where I like kind of what you were saying, Jay. Like it was good. Like no one was like, "Ooh, having a bit of a rough night there." Like no, I didn't get any comments or anything like that. It was everyone had a good time. Everyone was really impressed with like each other's playing. But I just felt like when you get you're driving back from the gig and you're just like, I was a bit sluggish tonight. I was a bit slow, or I just wasn't. It just wasn't happening tonight. Now, granted, my gigs were in between Christmas and New Year, and I'd not gigged for probably maybe a week before Christmas. So I was probably already in that point of like, I'd had like a week off of work, just like chilling, eating, seeing friends and family and stuff like that. So I was already kind of a little bit disconnected from it. But I still wasn't like overly happy with my playing. And then I sort of spent a bit of time, and I think whilst last year in 2024 there was a lot of like really, really great stuff, I don't necessarily think my drumming sort of took a step forward. It's not like I sort of pushed the barrier a little bit. If anything, I solidified even more so what I can do and what I'm good at, if that makes sense. Like there was a lot of things that I was trying to do that I can like now confidently do, if that makes sense. Like maybe whether it's like things that you sort of started to put in your vocabulary that you would maybe like come out here or there were coming out a lot more frequently and consistently, and I was sort of a lot more confident with it and actually like a part of my playing. Whereas, but I don't really think I like necessarily anything new or kind of like really took it to the next level. So I definitely like it towards the last sort of half of the year, third of the year maybe, got really sort of into certain types of players that maybe like have elements of sort of things I can do within my playing, but are also have that like sort of slightly further ability. Players like your Noah Furbingers, and like he's got like a great sense of groove and things like that, and plays a lot of beat stuff that I really like and like to play. But he can also like shred like super fast, like paradiddle grooves and little things like that, and just having that sort of extra sort of dexterity and things like that. I was like, that's immediately where I like top out on that sort of stuff. I mentioned plenty of times in the podcast before that I was a member of JP Bouvet's site, and he's also very good at those things of like doing something that's really, really simplistic, but just transforming it around the kit and just being like, oh, it's just a paradiddle, or it's just a paradiddle, but like making it a groove and like a feel and all those sorts of things. So that's what immediately I'm sort of thinking of is I've dedicated weekly practice time.
Yeah,
that I'm going to be sticking to. So like on certain days of the week, like coming home and doing like an hour, after work, and like a little bit of time on the weekend as well. I'm not going crazy because I'm sort of a bit of a believer of like, if you set out like, I'm going to do, 2 hours of practice every other day forever now. It's just like you get to like 1 week and then you're like, oh, you make like, oh, I'm down. I've been living in Australia. I'm going to come over and see you. Do you want to come for a beer? You're like, yeah, obviously. I want to come see you. The practice has gone out the window. So I'm trying to like start little and often. And I'm nice. When you were saying, Jay, about like prep and stuff like that for gigs, I would definitely do when I would be learning like set lists and stuff. I do like lots of little and often, and I always found that really beneficial. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and apply that to practice, and just not go sort of too crazy. And I was also kind of towards the end of like the last school term, I was getting to the point where I was like, I feel like I just need to come home and like put my headphones on and sit in my practice kit for like 20 minutes to just like decompress a little bit from the day.
Yeah.
And I found that really, really nice. So I think there's a little bit of an element of that, of just like having, like coming home from work and having like something to do, whether it be like you can go for a run or like another commitment to sort of like shift your mind to, other than just like coming home, sitting on the sofa, making tea and like whatever, going to bed, so I kind of wanted to like break it up a little bit. So yeah, that's like the main big thing, is like really trying to like transform my playing. I've kind of said to myself as well, I'm gonna probably go back to JP's site, but I've kind of said to myself, if I don't really sort of log in or make much progress in the space of like a 2-month window, I'll just cancel it again and then jump back in when I'm ready, because like we've had conversations, myself and JP, about like, it's not, if you're going to sort of, you can come and go any sort of time, quite a lot of websites are very open about that, like you can come and go at any time. It's not like a personal thing. So that's kind of been on my radar a lot lately. And like, obviously the usuals of like the various projects that I'm in, releasing new music and stuff like that, and trying to level up my sort of like, not repertoire, what would you say? Catalog of like songs that I've recorded on and stuff. I made a playlist that didn't really get much added to it last year, sadly. But there's sort of behind the scenes things because of that. But yeah, I'm hoping to record and release a lot of music. I've got a lot of my own sort of personal stuff that has been sat on a hard drive that is finally ready to see the light of day, which would be exciting. So cool. Yeah, there'll be some stuff on that soon, which would be cool. So just trying to, like you guys are saying, be creative and get a lot out there and sort of just kind of level up, I think is the phrase for this year. Really kind of level up a little bit.
Nice.
And take things a little bit further for me personally.
It's really difficult in the kind of cut and thrust of all the admin and all the bits and bobs too, because the best laid plans are like, I get home tonight and I'm going to play an hour or I'm going to get on the kit. And sometimes you've had a kind of stressful, or not stressful, but a hard couple of last lessons of the day, and you've had a 35-minute drive home or whatever, or and you just had a gig fall through, someone's text you, so that's not on next week, and you're like, oh man.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And getting home and going, right, okay, let's go and do some practice. It's difficult to maintain that. And actually sometimes, I'm alluding back to what I said about having downtime, I'm feeling happier now that I can go, Matt, let's just go and watch something on Disney Plus or Netflix, and don't be like, oh, I've got to work till 11 o'clock every night, and I must be. Don't be cross with myself if I'm not inspired, and that's where I think we talked about another episode, because I'm like with my practice diary, it's there, and I've had 2 days where no practice, and I've done some drills today, and I've perhaps done 15-20 minutes, if that.
Better than nothing though.
I've done like often, 4 or 5 3-minute exercises, but it's okay that I didn't do anything yesterday because, fair enough. It's difficult to walk that line between clocking on and clocking off and being okay with, I've still got stuff to do, but I actually want to go and see some mates and have a drink.
Tell you something that I kind of forgot about as well is like when I was a teenager, you'd come back from like school or come back from holiday, and I was just like desperate to get on my drums. Like it would be like the thing that would decompress me. And I think I was waiting for something to update on my computer or something, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do until something had downloaded on my phone. I was like, right, I'm just gonna go on my drums for like 10 minutes, and I just got like lost in it. And I felt so much better. Like I was feeling so stressed that whatever it was I was doing, I can't remember what it was. And then I was like, like jammed, like either to music or just anything, like just playing it. And it just made me feel better. And I was like, should definitely do this more often, like actually just enjoy playing drums, not like working on anything specifically.
I've got a perfect example of that, Jay. It's like when you weren't here, listeners, when Jamie wasn't here, it was my job to upload the episodes to YouTube because Jamie normally does that. And well, let me tell you, listeners, that's not a quick job.
It may well could have been that I'm referring to.
So I did it. So right, I'm just going to upload that. I've pulled it down off the Riverside that we use for this site. I've edited it in iMovies. I'm going to upload it. Oh my God, this is on 3%. And it's been going 5 minutes. I'm going to go and play the drums. And it's exactly what I did. And if I sit at the drums and go, so that's what's happening. If I've got time, I'm just going to sit on the drums for 20 minutes. Turns out I could have sat on the drums for an hour. It was still uploading. But when I sit here, I go, what am I doing? What am I doing? I have found myself and I've done this a while ago, and I've come back to it. I will put on Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, great.
Right, what am I going to play? And you know what? That 5 minutes of playing, boom, bam, boom, boom, right, it's jump starting me now. Let's go. Yeah. Click on whatever rudiments, open solo, whatever. It's like and I'm in. You know, and
that's exactly what I felt like. Yeah, literally, I was like, I just felt like so like pent up and like stressed. I was like, I just need to go home, put my headphones on, and just sit and go. And just put on like the Roots or like Robert Glasper or whatever, and just sat there, closed my eyes, and I was like 5 songs later, I was like, oh, that's better. That's just what I need.
I know.
You know,
you just got to get that over that hump of getting on the kit.
Yeah. And once you're there, it's so worth it, isn't it? You're like, it's the feeling I always get annoyed at is I come away going, why don't I do that more often? Like that was so fun, you know. And I'm just like, oh, it doesn't help.
Yeah. So in terms of 2025 accountability, now there's a title for a podcast, Harry.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, nice.
We've got me not wasting time, Jamie plumbing stuff in his diary and doing the extra 10%, which I coined that phrase for you, Jamie, but I didn't
I like that. I'll take that for the year. I can start thinking about that extra 10%, dialing up 10%.
Yeah. Prepping. Harry's going to dial into his practice.
Leveling up.
Harry's leveling up. I'm not wasting time. And Jamie's adding 10%. There you go. So that's our accountability. So when we listen back to this, ready for this Christmas coming, can we believe I'm talking about Christmas already? That's our accountability. How much time did we waste? Yeah. So with that in mind, then that's kind of 2020. Yeah. What kind of like 2 or 3 highlights? You know, bullet points of the year, because like you say, Harry, at the start of the episode, everyone looks back over, and we're not going to regurgitate everything, but you know,
we're in January now. It's that year's gone. It's been and gone. It's forgotten about. You know,
it's like new diaries on the wall.
Well and truly in 2025. Now, aren't
new
we?
calendars, everything. You know, like all that jazz.
Having said that, were there any key bits that went, you know what, this is a cool thing? It may not have been drumming stroke inverted commas work related, but any things that stuck out for you going, oh yeah, this has been a good thing to do?
I think we probably can all agree that the drum show was particularly great this last year. I think like we all kind of came away being like obviously the year before, that was the first year that I went, but that was like the first year obviously like that we went since we started the podcast, and like there was you know, a sort of wider group of us that you know, in the sort of areas that we all live in, and in social circles online and stuff like that, but it just felt like more established this year, not only just like the show, but like it just felt like the group of people that we went last year, and you'd like said hello to like whoever for the first time that you'd seen on Instagram for like 10 years, or whoever, you know, that you've been following, like you said, or exchanged emails, whatever. Like it was just like, I don't know, it kind of felt like going for like a work conference with like all your teammates. That's what I could maybe kind of pin it to. I don't know if that makes sense, but like we just like
annual gathering
kept saying, kept seeing each other for like the whole weekend, and we're hanging out, and it was just really, really great. Like it was such 100%. A highlight of the year, and I'm already looking forward to this.
It's one of those ones where you get back and I immediately go in the calendar and just block out the next one as soon as they've announced the dates. I'm just like, that's when I need to make sure that I'm free for the drum show. You know, it's all
someone a highlight. Yeah, someone put out on a WhatsApp chat today, but if anyone thinking about going to the European drum show, and actually they've done the maths on it, saying that if you take into account the cheaper hotels in Europe, it works out about the same price as
probably does
the UK one.
The fuel
flying into Zurich, Zurich and get a cheapish hotel. It's but I can't do
who's
both
playing
this year.
The European Drum Show then? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I know Mike's got his room there, the education room there again. He said in the podcast, I don't think it's announced who is there.
No, it's
in
not.
March or April, was it? It's quite a while.
Yeah, someone said March. Yeah.
But there's maybe I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but is Mike saying there's an education room there and everything?
He's doing it again, and performing.
Yeah, I think they've announced it on their website.
Oh, cool.
It was Rodrigo actually. Our mate Rodrigo, he DM'd me and asked me if I was going as well, and I said no, Rodrigo. But, awesome, Rodrigo.
Shout out, Rodrigo.
So I think it's in October this year, isn't it? It's a month later, or like 3 weeks later. This year is the 19th of October, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to remember that because that's my sister's birthday. So,
all right, well, happy birthday for that.
Yeah, I'll be seeing her.
So you won't be going to the drum show, will you? You'll be celebrating.
Oh, I will. No, I will. She's got a wedding this year that's taken up most of my year. So
right,
that'll do. But that I'm looking forward to that already, and that was such a great highlight. We all had so much fun. I was as tired as I was buzzing for the rehearsal I had the night after. So, just got to be around my drums and try all your
cool
new
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
Your bandmates are like, "Oh, you've been to the drum show, have you, you nerd?" Or whatever.
And I got to my first rehearsal after, and I showed all the bandmates my new DW pedal. No one cared.
Yeah, it happens.
We cared. We cared, man.
Yeah. This was you got a new pedal, great. Yeah, cool. Whatever.
Yeah, my band were like, your cymbals just get bigger every year. I'm like,
I noticed.
Yeah. I'm like, the new one's just a bit bigger, is it? I was like, really?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking of dates for this year's drum show. One of my highlights of 2024, which you guys didn't go to this time, was Odyssey Camp.
Yes.
And the reason is because the dates now are very close to Odyssey Camp, I think, potentially.
It could be the week after.
Yeah, but I mean, I know AJ listens, and AJ's not said anything about dates or anything, but that's what reminded me to make sure I mentioned that, because it was in a new venue at BIM. AJ worked so hard on that, and again, it was nice because there were some familiar faces there, and you guys weren't there. There was a couple of guys weren't there that I've seen and know well from those camps. But that meant actually that new people came along. There was other people there because of the tutor lineup. It attracts slightly different drummers who are in those circles. I hooked up with and met kind of 5 or 6, just networked with, and met and expanded my network of other guys out there doing it. And nice. Yes, it was a fantastic 2 days. Hotel around the corner, and great content, great tutors. Really, I think it felt, even a couple of the guys, I know Mr. Stokes is listening. Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. He said, it all felt a little extra special this year. That's cool. And that venue, I think, brought the best out of everybody, and it was great. So that was a real, good for the soul weekend, and I've actually learned some stuff. And what I mean is I've brought the book home, and I've learnt and I've practiced a lot of the stuff from the book. Nice. So I know I can play stuff now that I couldn't play before I went. Now, cool. I know that's cool. Can be a kind of shallow way of looking at it, because it's actually the camp's bigger than just learning drum stuff, isn't it? But no, it was a real good one to kind of spread the network, learn some more stuff, hang out with some cool tutors, and a great weekend. So that would be the highlight for me, cool. Or one of them certainly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jay, anything exciting?
There are too many things to choose from for me. Like, one of the things I love about last year was that it was just really varied. I just got to do so many different things, some stuff with the Originals band. We did a couple of like hometown shows, did our UK tour, sport tour, and then like going on a couple of exam tours as well. And then UK drum show. Like, it's just been like a really great year. So it's really difficult to pick like a favorite. One thing that I am putting in the diary more for this year, not because of last year, but because I've really realised this year that I love it, and that's just going to see more bands. I went and saw quite a few bands last year. A couple of them are just like my friends' bands, which I absolutely love, going and see them play. But yeah, I got to see Taylor Swift this year, which is obviously like one of the highlights of my year. So yeah, that was
in
great.
Concert, or did you just go around for coffee? Or
I wish you'd know about it. That happened. But no, I was down the front.
Does she want to come on as a guest?
Yeah, please. Yeah, if you're listening, Taylor, I don't know if she would be, but you're always welcome on the Countless podcast.
Quite right.
Yeah, so also I saw Taylor Swift. Me and Harry went to a couple of gigs, saw American football, which was awesome. We saw Story So Far, which I'm repping today.
That was great.
And yeah, like just these gigs where I came away just feeling really inspired, buzzing to play drums, loving the music, and just the experience of just taking a bit of time out of the week to go and see a band play. Like there's something about that which just I really enjoy. Just like grab a bit of food, hang out with your mates, go see a band that you love. You can nerd out about all their music and their gear and all these sort of things, and then you come home, you're like, oh yeah, and then I'll like buy like a t-shirt or a vinyl or something, and you just feel like you've done a real sort of like a really nice evening out that you're going to remember, and those sorts of evenings I look back and I'm like, oh, that they were really, really fun, and I want to do more of that this year.
I mean, great example. I went to see our mate Billy playing with Chris Barrett's band. He came to Leicester, so he came. We hang out in the day. We had a coffee, and he came to see where I teach in Leicester. And then me and my partner went to see him in the evening, and it was great to see a guy that we've been on the course with, and just absolute smashing it. And and then same thing, Jay. I was like, I should do this more often. And again, that's one of the things which we're going to try and do more in the diary, aren't we? But that's another good thing for me as well. Seeing one of our mates go out there and just be playing at that level.
But seeing your mate play drums is always great, and kind of hanging out backstage or just like meeting members of band and that sort of thing, and just seeing how like the in a lot of cases like the touring life is and that sort of thing. It's all really interesting, really cool to kind of see, especially friends of the podcast and people that you've met on Drummers Odyssey or at the drum show and stuff like that. So it's really cool.
No, it's wicked.
Yeah, I'd agree. I had like a really nice run of gigs from like September to December. I was like going to a gig or two like every month, which is really nice. And like you said, like there is something about, I mean, we're gigging like every weekend, like mostly out of the year, you could say. So you kind of forget like the magic in a way. And there's something just like, especially when you go to like a slightly bigger show, like the lights go down and like the sort of cheer of the crowd, and then they come on, and it's like, it's just it reminds you of like, why you do it. I went to see Slipknot in December, literally like 2 days before the end of term, right in the middle of all my concerts. I was like so tired, and it was such a long night, but they were so good. And like the next morning I had a concert, and I was like talking in the concert. I was like, there's, I went to see Slipknot last night. I got home at like 2 a.m. and it was sick. And like, this is why we do it. This is why people should play it. And, I gave like a little speech, and some of the parents were like, oh, you're all right. It's a bit loud. It's like, yeah, it was loud. And like,
it must have been really fun, like seeing, kind of duality played, and then coming into your school concert, and then having whatever songs were being played in the school show. It's a very, very different vibe,
Yeah.
Well, the next morning, there was a few bands that I ended up playing in, just because they hadn't like got that many band members. So, one of the last song I think of that concert was "Break My Heart" by Dua Lipa. So I was playing bass. So I just like whacked up the fuzz on the PA. I was like, proper like rocking out.
You didn't put a mask on, did you?
No, sadly not. I think I actually said, I was like, parents, if I was a little bit more into that than you might expect, this is why. But like you said, kind of putting yourself in that position of like, oh yeah, this is it. This is really cool. This is why I like to play drums, or why I want to be in a band and stuff like that. So
just remembering that we're a fan of music.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's again, it comes down to like the coming home and playing drums for a minute and just be like, oh yeah, this is really cool. This is this is what I like to do. But and like I mean, like seeing Butcher Brown and meeting Corey Fonville was a great highlight as well. That was really, really cool, even though it wasn't for long and stuff, but their gig was so good, and that was super inspiring as well.
Yeah.
I did a lot of recording last year as well, which was fun. I definitely want to continue to do that. Like same as you, Jed, last year felt very varied, of lots of different kind of gigs and being put in some positions that I haven't been put in for a while or before. And yeah, being under the mics a lot was really fun. So I definitely want to do a lot more of that. So yeah, that I would agree.
Cool.
Sounds like we've all had a great year though.
Yeah, it's been cool. We hope this has inspired everyone out there listening.
Yeah.
So what are you guys out there? Please comment. We'll put a reel out to kind of establish this episode. But we'll DM us when you've heard it.
You know,
say again.
Are you going to be practicing or
practicing?
No practice this year for you? What's it going to
be? Yeah. You know. What is it you're going to do more of? And maybe we've given you some ideas of things you can work on. That would be cool. We'd like to hear that from you. So
thanks, guys.
Reach out to us on Instagram. It's at Count Us In Podcast. We had someone buy us coffees over Christmas at buymeacoffee.com/Count Us In Podcast. Thank you very much for our coffees. That's very kind of you. And yeah, so you can do that as well if you'd like to support us and keep us and just to recognise you took something from the episode. That would be lovely as well. You can buy us a latte on there. I think I've mentioned everything I know. Is that everything? Yeah.
That's a lot.
Instagram awesome. And Instagram, and can buy us coffee. Yeah. Brilliant.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Great to be back as a 3.
Yeah,
definitely.
The trio is reunited.
It's been too
awesome. Welcome back, Jamie. And we will see you all again soon. Thanks, guys. Happy 2025, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.